when you're going through trouble, you ask, where is God? Because you want him to do something. But in the event that he doesn't, do you still trust that he is God? Hi, welcome back to the 21 Days of John. We are in chapter 2 today. I hope you're ready. I've carried my Bible. I hope you have yours. So let's go. So John chapter 2. I believe that the book of John was written for us to believe in the divinity of Jesus and just to trust that he is God. That indeed God became flesh for us. That we may believe, we may create a relationship with him. That we may be adopted into sonship. And he, being our Father, will become real to us. But yet, for us to believe that he is divine and that he is real. And I believe the book of John is supposed to prove that to us. Hence the way it was written. And you would notice that unlike the other books, Mark, Matthew, there is a chronological way in which they were written, but John doesn't follow the same way. And I think John specifically highlights certain events that would increase our faith and trust that Jesus is indeed God. And this comes out strongly in chapter 2. We see that in the first verses of that chapter are the very first miracle that Jesus performed at a wedding in Canaan, where he turned water into wine. And I believe that this specific miracle was supposed to highlight certain things about who Jesus is, to reveal his glory and his divine power, that he can indeed turn water into wine, something that no mortal man can do. Only God can. And the fact that it happened at a wedding, I believe is very significant because it highlights that there is the glory around a covenant, the covenant of a wedding, which is many times related to the covenant we have with Jesus. Jesus being the groom and the church, who is us, being his bride. So there is some significance there. And it wasn't by mistake that it was one of the things that John highlighted, that the book of John highlighted as significantly in chapter 2. That there was this miraculous thing that happened wherever Jesus went. And also the fact that most of the miracles that Jesus did were miracles of abundance, of creating a prosperous life. And I believe that there is something there as well. That the Lord is indeed divine. That the Lord is indeed God. And that he wants to create this life for us that is prosperous, that is full of victory, that is abundant. Because wherever he went, there was no poverty, there was no lack. There was always abundance. And the book of John highlighting that profoundly as one of the first things he mentions in chapter 2 is quite significant for me. That I believe in a God of miraculous things, of signs and wonders. And those things that he can only do, I can't do. And if I am doing it, I'm doing it by the power of the Holy Spirit, not in my own power. So just to believe that I believe in a God of great things. And the book of John gives me comfort that indeed that is the person I believe in. Secondly, is when he was cleansing the temple. I believe that in the next verses after the miracle at the wedding was him cleansing the temple. And remember, in the previous books, this was mentioned towards the end. Chronologically, he did it towards the end of his ministry. But in the book of John, it comes out strongly in the beginning of the book in chapter 2. And why? Because I believe that what they're trying to highlight for us is that Jesus came to cleanse the church. Remember John the Baptist, and his ministry was quite an interesting ministry of brood of vipers. He's casting out the Pharisees for them being hypocrites. And I believe Jesus, this particular event comes to show that Jesus came to cleanse all the hypocrisy that existed before his time and to bring back the normalcy that indeed God wanted from the very beginning. He is coming to cleanse the church. He is coming to redeem. He's coming to give us a clean slate. And I believe this event being mentioned here goes to highlight the reason why Jesus came, indeed as a profound message to us. Yes, it happened towards the end of his ministry chronologically, but here thematically it comes to show us that is indeed one of the most profound reasons why Jesus came, to cleanse us from what had existed as a hypocritical era that right now comes to an end with him. And that is so amazing, that we can have a clean slate in Jesus Christ and just begin from there and just live a life of prosperity. I love it. I love it. And then finally, what stands out for me is the fact that towards the end, let me just go there quickly. Towards the end in verse 23, which says, because of the miraculous signs Jesus did in Jerusalem at the Passover celebration, many began to trust in him. But Jesus didn't trust them because he knew all about people. No one needed to tell him about human nature, for he knew that was in each person's heart. That Jesus did not rely so much on the acceptance by people because of the miraculous things he did. He knew that there is more to this than just the miraculous, that there had to be transformation of the heart, that indeed if there were no miracles, they should have still believed in Jesus. And indeed he trusted this, and he is going, this specific verses towards the end of this chapter just tell us that yes, there will be miracles, you will see them and you will believe. But are you believing because of the miracles? Are you believing in Jesus as the Christ? That indeed if there were no miracles, you would still believe that he is Christ. And he's saying that that should be the state of our heart, that the miracles are going to be there. He is a good God. He is a gracious and merciful God. And he wants the best for us. So indeed, there are going to be signs and wonders. But in the event that they are not there, is your heart postured towards him anyway as Christ? And it makes me ask myself quite a number of questions. Is that, Sheba, if there were not all these good things happening to you in miraculous ways, would you still believe in God? And I know that you ask yourself the same thing, especially when you're going through issues and when you're going through trouble. You ask, where is God? Because you want him to do something. But in the event that he doesn't, do you still trust that he is God? Let's engage in the comment section. Tell me what you're learning. Tell me what God is saying to you. Let us share and teach it and learn from each other and teach each other, and let us grow as we read this chapter. And as you read it over and over again, I believe that God is revealing so much of himself to you. And I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Until we meet again tomorrow. Bye-bye.